This podcast is brought to you by Birdie Brain. If you are looking to increase stamina, elevate focus, and hydrate with an artificial sweetener-free superior nootropic, then you need Birdie Brain. Birdie Brain is specially formulated to provide golfers with the key nutrients they need to excel on the course. With a blend of essential vitamins, minerals, and nootropics, Birdie Brain is designed to support hydration, focus, and cognitive function, helping you achieve your best golf game yet. Stay focused on your next shot with Birdie Brain's powerful combination of natural nootropics to keep those scores low, such as lion's mane mushroom powder. Birdie Brain's ultimate hydration formula with sea salt, coconut water extract, magnesium, sea minerals, and potassium will keep you fueled for all 18 holes and then some. Visit getbirdiebrain.com and sign up for email notifications to get 15% off your first order and never miss out on exclusive offers. Tell them the boys at the Fairway Forechecks podcast sent you. I use Birdie Brain anytime I need to pick me up, especially when I need to focus for a round or to shoot some content. My favorite flavor is the wild cherry. Spencer loves the pineapple mango, and Mason is an Arnold Palmer man himself. Arnold Palmer man himself. Wow, Stingy. Talk right. You just can't go wrong with any flavor, though. So visit getbirdiebrain.com. By the way I'm speaking, I need some Birdie Brain right now, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Again, visit getbirdiebrain.com, sign up for email notifications, and get 15% off your first order. All right, we now welcome on a very special guest from East Windsor, New Jersey. He's officially verified on Elite Prospects, which I didn't even know was a thing. Some call him the broadcast bird of his generation, voice of an angel, never scared to ask the tough questions, director of communications and broadcasting for the Muskegon Lumberjacks of the USHL. Please welcome to the Fairway Forechecks podcast, Ezra Gennello. There's another part to that, younger brother of Mike Gennello, but I'm not trying to pump his tires at all. So I decided to leave that off the intro. But Ezra, welcome to the podcast. We now have both Gennellos on.
Yeah, no, there's worse things in life than being Mike's little brother. Lord knows it taught me how to be a little bit more competitive when I was younger. So.
Yeah. So how tough was dinner? Did you have to fight for scraps? Was he just a dick? I mean, what was eating at the table with Michael like growing up?
You know, to be honest with you, growing up, it wasn't that bad. When I got to high school, he was gone. He went to Hebron Academy in Maine and then played juniors in Connecticut and Florida and then college in Mass. So, you know, the real competitive stuff started coming out when we got a little older. Mike, the funniest thing I remember is during COVID, I spent a couple weeks up at his house in Mass in Framingham, and we'd go play roller hockey. It was a whole bunch of D3 men's hockey players, and then me. And you know, I didn't play college hockey, and I wasn't big on the rollerblades at the time, so I wasn't too good. And Mike snapped a $300 stick on a basketball hoop post because he was pissed at a pickup COVID rollerblade game on a basketball court.
What a snap show, dude! What an absolute lunatic that guy is.
But you know what? It works for him. So it's
it does. We're similar in that way. The wires cross with me all the time. But the 300, the snapping a $300 twig over a basketball goal at a pickup roller hockey game it's just insane. That's next level, Michael. Next level. So you, like I said, we talked. You're in Muskegon. Explain to everybody just where Muskegon is on a map. I am terrible with geography, so explain to everybody where Muskegon is on a map. You know, what is the culture of Muskegon like? What's the community like? What are we looking at weather-wise? I mean, what's it like living in Muskegon, and where are you?
Yeah, Michigan. So right on Lake Michigan, right across from Milwaukee. So I guess the bigger city to mention is Chicago, which is about southwest of us, right across the lake. But it's awesome. So the lake in Chicago, it's got like tough shores or whatever. You know, rocky. It's not really beachy. And that's because on the opposite side where I'm at, it's a full-on beach. So we have the lake shore. I didn't believe people. Obviously, coming from Jersey, we had the Jersey Shore and Asbury Park and LBI, and when they told me in February of 23 when I got here that, over the summer I'm going to want to hit the deck and go to the beach, I didn't really believe it. And now I'm here, and, this is my second summer in Muskegon, and I just hit the deck for the first time. It's a restaurant. It's unreal. They've got live music like every Friday and Saturday night, and it's just a sick spot. Just hit that for the first time last week, and it's a cool vibe out here. Big motorcycle community. We got a Harley dealership right in town. I got my first bike last year. We got bike time coming up this week, so it's going to be pretty loud. But it's just, I'm trying to think if that paints the picture of Muskegon. It's got a pretty bad rap. It's really grown a lot in the past 5 or 10 years, and it's skyrocketing. I think when the season started last year, Mike and I were thinking about doing like a duplex house, because we know it's just going to be like a good investment.
So would you say it's almost like the Ozarks of Michigan? Is it like similar, just like kind of like not backwoods, but I mean like kind of like lake living kind of vibes, lots of lake houses, but then like you said, you'll get the bikers that roll into town, and it's is it a welcoming to that kind of? Is it like, do they love the bikers coming through? Is it Muskegon? Is it just going to be popping off whenever these guys just come blazing through there?
Yeah, it was honestly, I didn't realize how few motorcycles are in New Jersey until I went back this summer, and I was like, man, I haven't seen a motorcycle in a day and a half in Muskegon.
You'd have to be nuts to drive a motorcycle in fucking New Jersey.
No, I love it. You got to be careful, right? Like,
you have a bike? Do you have a bike?
Yeah, I have a motorcycle. Yeah.
Oh my! What do you got? What are we working with? Ezra Gennello. He's Muskegon Lumberjacks Hell's Angels chapter.
Yeah, I got my leather jacket with the Jacks logo in the back. It's a 23 Harley Nightster. Nothing too crazy. A little leader bike. It's about a 975. So
okay.
It bobs and it pulls when you need it, but it's easy to ride in the city too.
Okay, is it pretty relaxed to ride around Muskegon? Is it a pretty chill place to drive a motorcycle? Is there a lot of bikes on the road?
A ton. I mean, Harley Davidson was founded in Milwaukee, right across the lake.
Okay.
So I think that plays a big factor into it. But you might go for, my drive is 10 minutes from my apartment to the rink, and I'll see 50 motorcycles on my morning commute.
Wow. So what was your, growing up in New Jersey with Mike as an older brother, and just, being from a hockey family, what was your introduction to hockey? Like, what got you into hockey? And then where was the transition, the realization of like, hey, I like the talking aspect of the game, like the learning and the watching of the game a lot more than, maybe not like I enjoy it more than playing, but this is what I'm meant to do. Like, I'm better at this. Like, I like this side of the game. So what was your introduction to hockey? And then where did that kind of process begin? And where did you kind of step aside and go, I'm going to go this route instead of this route?
Yeah. Growing up with Mike and hockey and stuff, Mike is the reason why I got into hockey. They called me when I was younger Mini Mike, because I did everything that Mike did. I played hockey because of him. I wore his number for a couple of years. I did everything like him. And we got 4 of us, 4 boys in our family. He's 2 and I'm 3. And I just kind of followed everything that he did. He was kind of just my role model growing up. And, he went high school to prep school to juniors and college. And then I was going to do the high school to prep school, but Mike's a bit more of an academic weapon than I was. So I went.
Do not call him an athletic weapon. Do not call.
Academic.
Okay, I'll go with that.
I don't know that.
Sure.
I don't know that.
I wouldn't say Rhodes Scholar. But okay, definitely more of an academic weapon than an athletic weapon. I've seen him without a shirt on.
Yeah. Well, Mike got after it pretty good when he was playing hockey full time. But no, he did that, and he kind of paved the way for me. And prep school wasn't really in the cards for me, but junior hockey was, and I went and did that my senior year. Instead of playing travel hockey and tier 1, I went and jumped up and played in the EHL my senior year of high school. And back in my freshman year of high school, I separated my shoulder and tore my labrum, and never really did anything for it. Didn't do any rehab or strengthening or surgery. And by the time senior year rolled around, I was averaging separation a game, and so. The surgeon said, October. He said your season's over, your surgery is in December, and you'll be lucky if you make it back for playoffs. But I'd recommend just not even going back next year or anything. So, it's kind of tough. 17 years old, being told your hockey career is over. Especially, a lot of kids who are 17, 18, they go and they finish high school and they're like, all right, I'm done. I'm just going to go to college and be a normal college kid and like live that lifestyle. And that's a choice. And unfortunately for me, I didn't get to make that choice. It was made for me. So I wanted to find a way to stay in the sport and stay invested. I had a billet brother on the team. I was still living at home, so I was still going to all the games. So I figured I'd jump on and do some color commentary, and just did it for fun. And then went to tour Franklin Pierce. I actually wear the quarter zip today, and I wanted to go to school for athletic training. But on the tour, I think he was from Australia or New Zealand, my tour guide. He was on the tennis team, and we walked through the communications building, and he showed me the radio booth just for talk shows and stuff, and talked to me about the whole sports media program. And I could do a talk show and play-by-play and all that fun stuff. And I kind of just fell in love with the idea of it right at the time. I actually convinced my parents I wanted to cancel. I was touring another school the next day. I was like, just cancel it. I'm already accepted to Franklin Pierce. Like, I want to change my major. I'm not doing athletic training. I'm doing sports media. And I kind of just got hooked from that one tour on a January in 2018.
It's tough when the game is taken away from you like that, especially at such a young age. That's an injury though where, if you let it linger and if you don't take care of it right away, that's just one of those ones like a neck or a back where you see all these football players retiring at 24, 25 because they've gotten so many stingers and their necks are tore up, and it's just certain body parts and certain injuries will linger and will almost it's not like Tommy John where you get the surgery and you come back and you're like 10 times stronger. You get a shoulder surgery like that on your labrum, any little bit of major contact to it, and you're probably right back in the situation of it's retorn, you're re-getting a surgery, and what 17, 18, 19-year-old wants to keep getting shoulder surgery? Also, I'm just gonna throw this idea out there. It's probably how it's super easy for a lot of young kids to get onto opiates and pain, just just trying to fight injuries and going surgery after surgery. And it's, so I think I commend you for being able to have the mindset to not let that I know you sit there and I know you're sitting there like you're like I'm sure you were in a bad place, but I mean to not let it deter you from not wanting to be a part of the game at all, I guess is what, I got to commend you for that part of it. But so talk about that. What was that mindset like? Like, what was it like going through that as a 17-year-old?
Well, it was tough. It wasn't as tough during the season. I was still with the fellas and going on road trips and, being around the rink. It was really when school started the next year and I was in college and I wasn't going to the rink and I wasn't playing and, I wasn't working out every day with the guys. That was really tough. My freshman year, I played in the USPHL spring showcase. Actually played against Mike for the first time ever. Really bad. We played against each other in one of the games, and he was playing for the Florida Eels, and I was. Oh no. That was a couple of years ago. But I played in the showcase for the Florida Eels, where Mike played his age out year in the USPHL, and they offered me a contract to go play elite, and I was going to take it. I was going to drop out of school. I spoke with the Franklin Pierce Athletics compliance coordinator. It's a D2 school. The plan was I was going to go play in Florida for 2 years, take 1 or 2 classes a semester, and come back as a grad student and just try and play 2 years of college hockey after dropping out and starting school earlier. But my dad was fighting me on it tooth and nail. My mom said, do what makes you happy. My dad said, your body's not really set for it. It's maybe not a good idea. And I kind of listened to him, and it's probably the best decision I've made was just listening to my dad and kind of just giving it up, at least the playing side. But, once you get in the booth and you get to hang around the fellas and you're still in the game, it makes it a little easier. You see a lot of guys, they go do coaching and they do scouting or they do broadcasting. It doesn't have to be a full-time job or even what you do for your career. Just a little bit of scouting on the side or coaching with the youth teams on the weekends. And it's just a way to stay involved in the game and help grow it at the younger level.
Yeah, so that's I coach a U12. I was running a U14 program for a different organization. I'm with a new organization this year, so I coach a U12 select team. Travel hockey across the U.S. is very, very competitive, but for me, I found it's coaching is very hard. It's even for a select hockey team, like it's a grind. It's 3-4 nights a week. It's hour and 15 practices. It's 4 to 6 tournaments. 3 of them are out of town a year. It's a 22 game regular season schedule for 11 year. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
a group. It's if you're doing like if you're a player or a coach and you're doing camps. I mean, it's July to March. Like there's maybe a 2 month break in between there. And so I was gonna take a break this year from coaching. And then, I also kind of realized at the same time that like my semi-pro career is kind of winding down. I'm having my first child in December. Priorities. Thank you. But I quickly came to a realization that I wasn't going to be around the boys on the team as much because of my current situation with the kid, which is perfectly fine. I'm getting older. But the second realization was, I also wasn't gonna be coaching, right? So I started thinking and you start thinking like you get a little sad, right? The best part about the game is being around the game, but just being around a team and a team environment. And if you're not with your own team, the way you do that as a coach is you kind of help build the culture that you want to see, right? So I got an offer randomly sitting on the couch, and it was just like. I go from not wanting to coach and not going to coach, and then I read an offer, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I'm back in. I'm all the way back in. It's just like you just can't. It's the game is so ingrained into us. There's no way to give it up. Like there's no way to just walk away from it completely. Like I'll be involved in some level of whether it's playing roller hockey and over 30s like tournaments or whatever it is, or coaching. I will always be involved in some type of hockey. Even if my kids play, like I'll always have to be, other than just watching them. And it's just how we are. It's just ingrained to us. So, question about like you being a part of the team. If Muskegon wins a championship, do you get a ring?
I believe so. I do. Yeah.
Nice. So that kind of leads me to this, right? Like junior hockey. Okay, so for people who don't know the landscape of junior hockey, the USHL is the only Tier 1 junior hockey league in America. Tier 2 would be like the NAHL, right? Tier 3 is the NA3. But the USHL is the only there are other Tier 2 leagues around. I just can't think of what they are off the top of my head that compete with the NA. So the USHL is the only Tier 1. On a scale from American hockey to Canadian hockey, how many Canadian players are in the USHL?
A lot. We had Sasha Boisvert this year. He got drafted 18th overall by Chicago at the draft. He's a French Canadian from Quebec. He played in Muskegon last year. We have Xavier Veillot. He got drafted in the 6th round by the Islanders this year at the draft. He's from Quebec also. Next year, Tynan Lawrence. He's the 8th ranked North American skater for 2008 birth years. He's a tender, so he'll be in Muskegon next year. He's from Fredericton, New Brunswick. So there's a wave of guys coming down to the USHL. It used to be that if you just wanted to play college hockey, the USHL was where you wanted to go. If you had your pick of the litter, pick of the leagues, and you can go wherever you wanted. But it's now really turning into not just college, but if you want to develop for the pro game. And you heard Max Celebrini, who obviously just got drafted 1st overall. He said that, growing up in Vancouver, he wanted to go play in the dub and go that route, just like Connor Bedard and a lot of guys before them played CHL and major juniors. But Mac, he moved down to San Jose and then went to Shattuck, and from Shattuck learned about the USHL and the Chicago Steel, and learned about being able to go play college hockey at BU and develop and see that pro game a little more. In CHL, everybody's maxing out at 21 years old, right? Like it's junior hockey, but in Boston University and in the NCAA, you're playing against 25-year-olds. and it's a more structured, more pro style game, and it prepares you a little bit better to go and make that jump to the National League. And Ryan Leonard, I know he's an American guy, but that's one of the guys who at BC he's pushing back. He's saying I don't want to make the jump to the NHL yet. I want to develop my body a little more. And Sasha back here in Muskegon, he's going to be at North Dakota next year. He says, I don't want to be the best player when I'm 18, 19 years old. That's not the goal. My goal is to be the best player at 27, 28, 29, 30, the prime years of his career, be the best player he can be and help a team win a Stanley Cup. And, I think a lot of players are recognizing, a lot of teams are recognizing that the USHL is a really great path to go when you want to develop and play a long, successful hockey career. I don't know if you know this, Joe Pavelski, he retired today, Captain America, played for the Waterloo Blackhawks in the USHL. So it's a great path. It's just getting better and better every day.
We love you, Joe. We love you.
Joe. We love Joe.
One guy I'm sad never got a cup. Him and Joe Thornton and Marlowe. I think I didn't want to see them all win it as Sharks because I just didn't. And Brent Burns, I just didn't. I'm not a Shark. I'm a Stars fan.
Yeah.
Western Conference Sharks rivalries growing up in the 2000s. I just, I've got buddies that are Sharks fans, but I would have liked to have seen that group of guys win a cup with the teams that they went to afterwards. They're just some of those guys like Jamie Benn. I want to see, as big of a Dallas Stars fan as I am, I just want to see a guy like Jamie Benn get his. There's just certain guys, but like you were saying, the landscape has changed. So when I was growing up playing, I grew up playing AAA, not a big deal. Yeah. And I grew up going to the TAC development camps, right? Yeah. Where you would go to your region, and if you made your region, then they would send you to, it used to be Salt Lake City, so they would have it at the Olympic Training Center in Salt Lake City. Then if you got selected and how it worked was once you got to Salt Lake, they would divide you up into 4 teams. It was red, yellow, green, blue. You did a full combine, fitness testing, pull-ups, push-ups, shuttle runs, all that good stuff. And then you had 3 practices, and then you scrimmaged every team once. It was a full week-long camp. It was crazy. And I made it every time. Not a big deal. And then from there, they would if you made the national development camp, they would call you after you got home from Salt Lake and say, hey, we now want you to come to, I believe it was Plymouth at the time. And then from there, if you made that's how kids would make the national team from that camp. Then I never made it to Plymouth. I never got the call after getting back from Salt Lake. But I remember being in Salt Lake, and they would have this meeting every time, and the meeting would be about pathways, right? Because there are kids there that are on WHL draft picks already, or whatever the case may be, or already high verbal commits to universities or whatever it is, and they would have this big seminar with a bunch of former NHL guys saying to use wood sticks because they won't break as easy, and black tape only because goalies can't see the puck and all that kind of shit. And you'd see 10 kids, including myself, go into the pro shop trying to convince their dads they need a wood stick, and they're like, "It's fucking 2008. You don't need a wood stick. What are you talking about?" But the big point of the seminar was if you know you are going to be an NHL player, do not waste your time going to college. Go play major juniors as an American. Don't worry about national development teams. Don't worry about college scholarships. If you know for a fact your pathway is the NHL, meaning NHL teams, scouts have already talked to you. You're a draft pick of some high-level junior team already. Go play major juniors. And then they would say, if you don't know for a fact you're going to play in the NHL, go play juniors in America and play college hockey. That was what you were told. It is so different now. The amount of draft picks, A, in the NHL draft this year from the USHL was insane. And B, yeah, and exactly. And B, the amount of draft picks from college hockey from guys in the USHL that are going to go spend 3 even to 4 years like Zeev Buium in college hockey, right? That is the new pathway. It's completely changed. College hockey is the new major juniors. So now my question is, you take a team like Fargo who won the championship, or Youngstown like the year before, or even Dubuque who lost to Fargo last year, right? You place one of those teams in the Mem Cup. How do they do?
No, it's tough. It's good. I think Fargo would have cleaned up. It's interesting to look at because I think the veteran heavy teams are the teams that are very good uh, in junior hockey. It's such a quick turnaround, and we were bad my first year here in Muskegon. Ownership change, followed up by coaching change, followed up by 4 or 5 trades to send all the veterans out throughout the league to go help other teams win a championship, and you get draft picks and young guys in return. But I think it shows that they're going to do well. I mean, the USHL had more first round draft picks this year than any other league in the world, and this is the first year. 49 is the first time in 7 years that they didn't hit 50 draft picks as a league. And of course that has the NTDP included in it, but the NTDP, you play 32 games as a 17-year-old and 32 games or whatever it is as an 18. You play the equivalent of a full season in the USHL as an NTDP player. So they're full members of the USHL. But yeah, the guys in Fargo and Dubuque and Youngstown and definitely in Muskegon here, we would have battled for a Mem Cup 100%.
Can the NTDP team are they eligible for playoffs or
Yes.
they
Yes.
they are, so can the NTDP win the USHL championship?
Yes, they can.
Wow, have they ever done that? Has that ever been done?
I don't believe so. I don't
Okay.
believe so. So
Is that is it? What's the major key difference when that team gets down to like playoff? Is it age, because those kids are young, technically a little younger than a lot of USHL players, or is the age the same?
the
Do-
age is pretty much the same. I mean, you have the 17s who are obviously going to be a lot younger. The 17s,
Yeah.
same age as all the tenders in the league.
Now that team used to play in the NA. The 17 team used to play their exhibition season in the NA, and then the 18 would play in the USHL. But the 18s do their own thing now, right? And it's the 17s that play in the USHL.
No, both teams do. So they share.
So they both net. So they're both okay. Okay.
So you have just the NTDP record, and the 17s play about 70% of the games. The 18s play maybe 30. I think that number might be a little closer than 70-30.
Okay.
But then when they make the playoffs, the 17s are the ones that represent them in the postseason. So the 17s are playing more of the junior games, and the 18s are playing more of the college series games. And you'll see that the NA just announced today their showcase series in September in Blaine, and the 17s, they go down and they play 2 games, and that's like the premier event for the NA showcase is the NTDP 17s. But no, I think that they're good games. I mean, when we go to Plymouth and USA Hockey Arena, it seems like half the time we're losing 8-1. It's how it is sometimes. Half the time we're blowing them out, half the time we're losing. But the 18s are obviously, I mean, you're playing against Cole Iserman.
Yeah, you're playing against high NHL draft picks.
Yeah, so it's competitive. It's awesome. I also think it's why you see the United States doing so well on the international level, is because what other national team is playing 60 games a year with each other and then going to the World Juniors after that?
Well, do you think it's going to benefit or hurt American-born players now that major juniors are no longer and make you ineligible to play college hockey?
Has that been confirmed yet, Stench?
Don't you pull the Gennello, the asking me the question. I don't know that's confirmed.
As of right now, major juniors is not college eligible. And no, I don't think it hurts the USHL guys, the American guys, because at the end of the day, the USHL is the premier spot for players who want to go to college and play in the NHL. And it's growing. Like I said, you want to go to the NHL, the USHL is becoming more and more attractive every day. I got the opportunity to go to the draft in Vegas this summer, and I spoke with Kyle Davidson, the GM of the Blackhawks.
Were you in the Sphere?
Yeah,
you were in the Sphere.
I was.
You were inside this. Ezra Gennello inside the Sphere, live inside the Sphere.
And I obviously Chicago took Levshinov at 2, who is a Green Bay Gambler, and they took Sasha at 18, who's a Lumberjack. And I said, what's attractive about going to the USHL? And he gave a really great answer about, it's a really great place for players to go and develop. And obviously with Chicago having the Steel right around the corner, and, that area, Iowa's right there. We're right next door. The NTDP's right in Plymouth. So they get a chance to go look at the players, and it's physical. It's a high-scoring league. and it's a great spot to develop. And then of course the attractiveness of having your player get drafted and then go play in college and develop even more is even better. So it major junior is not college eligible right now. If you can be on a team in major junior after playing 10 games in the National League, right? Like that's a big hurdle. How are you going to tell me that you're still college eligible when you got guys on your team that have 10 games in the show?
Now, do you think they will get over the hurdles? Will they become eligible, or do you think it's going to go you think it's just going to stay the way it's always been?
I don't know. I think that the NCAA has a great relationship with USA Hockey, and the USHL is USA Hockey. And I'd love to see our players succeed and see more Canadians and Russians and Latvians and Belarusians come to the USHL and play American
Israelis.
I know there are a couple in the CHL. We got a couple Jews in the USHL. We have a couple Ryan and Aaron.
Z from Denver. That's gonna put guys from that culture and that area kind of on. Obviously Zach Hyman, but people just kind of forget. You kind of need. Every once in a while, you need another Jewish guy to just pop up out of nowhere, and someone go, "Holy shit, that guy's fucking really good." So, I think you make some good points on that. I think you're correct in. I don't think it would hurt American-born players. I don't think it would hurt a league like the USHL. I think it would just make, if anything, it would make college hockey more entertaining in the long run. But in the long run, too, I don't think it would hurt anything because guys that are NHL destined that are already in major juniors are just going to stay where they are because you're getting paid, right? So it goes back to what we were told as kids. If somebody's already an NHL draft pick and they're getting told we either want you or you only have one more year left, they're not going to go to college hockey for one season just to see if it develops them any better than the team that they're already at.
No, yeah, but that's the thing though, is in the USHL and major junior, you're playing 60 games a season, right? And so you're playing every single Friday, Saturday night, sometimes Sundays. Every once in a while, you got a 3-game weekend, but the season is so long, and you can't be in the gym and get bigger and train super hard. But what college lets you do is you'll have games Friday, Saturday night, but the season's a lot shorter, which means you're not starting hockey at the end of August. You're not starting training camp end of August and going through hopefully the end of May for the playoffs. You can work out and get bigger and get stronger before the season. You can still get bigger and stronger in the season, just not as much. And then the season ends earlier, February, right? Is the national championship, maybe March. And that's if you're lucky that you're competing for a national championship. And if you're not, then you're back in the gym and recovering and getting bigger and stronger and preparing for the draft, or maybe you get called up to the NHL. So that's what makes college hockey so attractive, is it gives you more time to develop and grow and build your skills while still playing games. So it's 1 year, 2 years, doesn't matter. The time you get in college hockey, I think, is really, really massive for a player's development.
So where's Muskegon sitting at in the landscape coming up this year? You obviously kind of know some returners. Where are we thinking that, obviously we're positive about this team, right? But what is the goal for this team in your head, right? You're not you can't put the skates on and go play for them, right? But where do you see this team? What's the ceiling for this team this year?
Well, I'll tell you what, they don't want me to put the skates on and play for them. That's for sure.
They don't. I've seen Ezra play. I have seen Ezra play in Israel before. Him and his brother played together. This guy is a two-handing fucking machine. I mean, he plays mean. He's got a very skinny, lanky build, and it makes you think you can get one over on him. And the minute you try to get one over on him, you are getting hacked really hard. He's a mean MFer out there. So I will give Ezra that. Yeah. So they probably don't want you to put the skates on. Somebody's getting Marty McSorley'd if you do.
No, the goal is at Clark Cup. We have a really great staff here in Muskegon, and obviously our owner Pete Herms, who bought the team last January 2023. he's going to make it happen on whatever he can do to help the team succeed. And obviously the fellas that we have in the locker room, David Klee is expected to return. That's a San Jose Sharks draft pick from 2023. Xavier Veilleux is expected to return. That's a 2024 draft pick. We got some really great goaltending. We had Shika Gadziev come over from Slovakia midway through last year. Steven Peck was a top 10 goalie in the NA last year. Those are two guys that we have on our protected list. And then you look at the tenders, the new guys coming in. Tynan Lawrence, mentioned him. He's the 8th ranked skater for 2008 birth years. He was a projected first overall pick in the Q draft until he tendered in Muskegon. And, he's talking about going to BU, BC, or North Dakota. That's the headline coming out today. And then Rudy Burzkalns out of Bishop Kearney. He's our other tender. This kid's huge. He's massive. I think he's 6'4", just a hair under 200 pounds. And he'll play mean, but he actually has the size to do it, but he doesn't sacrifice the skill side for it. Our defense is going to look awesome. Our goaltending is going to be sick. So, the goal, and it's always going to be a Clark Cup. And, I think last year we had a really special group in the building here at Trinity Health Arena. And I think next year we're going to have a special group as well with some great leadership.
Right answer. right answer. Right answer.
You could tell I'm media trained, but
exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's clear. It's clear that you've had some communications training. Okay.
Yeah.
But good answer. Right answer. Right answer. So let me ask you this. In terms of, expansion, right? We see the NHL expanding, continuing to expand, continuing to entertain even more expansions, even entertaining going back to places where expansions failed before, right? We see it a lot in the NAHL. There are I think maybe 2 or 3 expansion teams that got added this season. Obviously one of them was an NA3 team that got bumped up to a new name, a relocation, that kind of thing. But then we see a trickle down effect in the NA3 where there's now these new teams popping up. What would an expansion look like for the USHL if they were going to expand? And does the USHL work with leagues like the NA? And could there be a team, one of the higher level NA teams, that is always competing for those championships to possibly become a USHL team in the future? How does that work?
Yeah, I think there's always a possibility for some of those NA teams to jump up. There's certain things that you have to do in order to be a tier 1 junior hockey team. So, for example, you have to have an arena a certain size. And at 3,500 seats, Trinity Health Arena is one of the smaller rinks in the league. What
is the minimum?
I think it's about 3,000. I don't know if that's a confirmed number or not, but it's about 3,000 seats.
Okay, so there's quite a few NA teams that play in places in convention centers and things like that are good teams that have that capability. Okay, so there's the first hurdle. Okay, what are some more hurdles?
There's also some financial things, obviously.
Money.
Well, it's our guys get pretty much everything, right? You don't pay for housing, you don't pay for equipment. There's a lot of stuff that you get that even in the NA and in Tier 2 juniors that you still are paying for. And all those bills, they fall on the team. And if you have a great owner like we have here in Muskegon, they're willing to pay those premiums. If your owner isn't willing to bring out the credit card so quickly, maybe you have to have a front office that can sell some sponsorships. But there's a lot of things that prospective teams have to do in order to fit the mold to be a successful USHL franchise. So, I think that expansion is definitely a possibility. I think the biggest thing, though, and I think we haven't seen this yet, is the rate of expansion in the lower levels is exceeding the rate of expansion at the college level.
Yeah. Yes. What is going to be a result of that? Is there just going to be too many good hockey players that have nowhere to go?
Give me 30 seconds.
You're good. Yeah. Go ahead. No, you're good.
So I'm in the press box right now. Figured it'd be a nice spot to sit on.
Yeah.
This is our line chart from our last game in the playoffs. Every single kid, other than a couple, has a logo next to their name, right? So the starting goalie, Shika Gadziev, he's committed to Michigan Tech now. One of the defensemen, Bauer Berry, at the very bottom, he's got a St. Thomas logo next to his name now. Um, let's see, Miles Gus, University of Michigan, and Miles Roberts. That makes him the only guy that doesn't have a logo next to his name on that entire roster. And here's Dubuque, right? Another team. Every single kid, except for a very few, has a logo next to their name. So I think that's one of the coolest parts about being in the USHL and Tier 1 juniors is you've got all these Division 1 schools, Big Ten and NCHC and CCHA and big name programs, and you also have NHL logos. I'm looking at Dubuque, Beckett Hendrickson to the Bruins, Kevin Radler to the Senators, Uri Pikarczyk to the Blues. And then you go to Muskegon, and you have Ty Henricks to the Rangers, and David Klee to the Sharks, and Philip Nordberg to the Senators. So you have all these logos, and if you expand quicker than college, and the NHL has an opportunity to expand, you're going to see a lot more white space on the line charts, and you're going to be sending maybe the same amount of kids to these upper leagues because there's only the same amount of spots, but more spots in your league. So I think hockey's growing, and it should grow, and I'm really excited to see the future of it. But I think we all need to just grow at the same rate. You don't want one cog of the pipeline, ballooning, and then everything looks a little wanky.
So I'm a solution on the fly guy. Okay.
Yep.
Let me ask you this, because you have the brain that works that side of the game, right? I really don't. But let me ask you this, right? Does the NCAA pushing, maybe not pushing, but making it easier? I don't know how you make it easier, because it all comes down to money. Who has the money, right? But the NCAA, like Arizona State, right? These and teams that are like, we see a lot of D1 club hockey teams doing these NCAA exhibition games and doing very, very well. Could a possible solution be obviously like NCAA really trying to push and help some of these teams that are competing in these exhibition games become actual NCAA Division I teams? And then we start to see, like, now these players have more places to go. They may not be as good, like the one team, I think, that only got one win this year at NCAA. They were a new expansion team, right? Like Long Beach State or Long Beach or whatever it is, right? Like teams like that. Does making it easier to create new NCAA opportunities kind of open up the little clog, I guess, is the easiest way to ask.
Yeah, 100%. But you got to do it the right way.
What's the right way? What do you think is the right way?
The right way is growing the sport at the smaller, lower levels, creating hockey fans in these cities. And there are a lot of hockey fans in these cities, and the student buy-in is there as well. But so Utah and the Utah Hockey Club, I think you're going to see the Utah Utes have a hockey team, NCAA. Coming up,
100%. They're a very good they're a very good Club D1 team, and they are on the exhibition path this year. I mean, that's what there's so, like, in this, like, think about the South, right? Like if these teams that have, like, Georgia, it goes everybody goes, well, Georgia would suck at hockey because they're a decent club team. People don't understand those players go away, unfortunately, right? Like when ASU became an NCAA team, there was maybe a few kids from that club team that were good enough to stick around with Coach Greg Powers to compete, but the rest of the majority came from recruiting and scouting. A lot of those guys went back to playing club or got stuck playing club or had to go play elsewhere, which would happen, right? You'd probably have an NCAA team, but teams like Michigan State, those big schools, they have NCAA teams. They also have club teams. So you would just see the mix of both. But I think getting teams like Georgia, getting teams like Texas, getting teams like Florida that have donors who have the money, that, like, getting teams down there, I mean, that helps, right? I think that's what we need to do. But it's money. Who's got the money? Who's willing to do it?
And everybody wants to earn a bit of money, right? But it's also, you got to have the infrastructure for it. Where's the team playing? And you saw Arizona State, really great example. They were a club team. They built a new arena. They brought in NCAA hockey, and now they're doing really well. And now think about what their ticket sales are going to look like now that they're the only show in town. The Coyotes aren't there anymore, so now ASU, they're going to have all those Coyotes fans who are begging for more hockey, but they don't have Coyotes anymore. So, well, you have the Sun Devils. So I think that, it's not just, Los Angeles with UCLA, which they should 100% get Division I hockey.
100
about-
USC,
Oregon?
Oregon. Yeah, the Pac-12 should be an NCAA D1 hockey division.
So I think you got to give those guys a chance to expand and create more opportunities at the next level before you start. And obviously, I know that the expansion at the Tier 3 level is skyrocketing right now.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I think that you see AAU and ACH.
But remember, for every 3 teams that expand, there's 2 teams that folded. You know what I mean? Like it kind of evens out in the long run. And then you think NA3, probably three of the 2 or 1 of the 3 teams that expanded is probably not going to be there in 3 years. It's just junior hockey stuff. But I think you're right. I think the college hockey needs to be like college football in the fact that every big conference in college football there needs to be an NCAA D1. The Mountain West should have a D1 NCAA hockey conference with Colorado. They would probably play in the Pac-12, but with Colorado State, with Utah State, with Wyoming, like teams like that. Like there's these divisions should have, and that they don't have the money. But I also don't know if the NCAA necessarily does a good enough job of pushing for people to get involved in these communities. You know what I mean? Like I think we all need to work together, and we're all working kind of separately. To your point, I
think the other part is like I said, the NCAA has a really great relationship with USA Hockey and the USHL, and our commissioner is Glenn Heffernan here in the USHL. He does a great job, and those are conversations that are being had of what's the future of the USHL, what happens if the CHL gets eligibility, what about expansion, right? So I'm sure, I'm not privy to those conversations, but we have a really great group of owners in the USHL and presidents, especially here in Muskegon. Our president, Andrew Rose, just won the Exec of the Year award. So I'm sure they're happening, and I'm sure that you're going to see some things that look good in the future. But like I said, I'm just the guy that talks on the microphone, so I don't really get to make those decisions or even hear about them before they happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're all pigeons. We don't, we know enough to help, but they're not going to ask for our help. They don't want our help. So I don't want to keep it too long, but I do have to ask you, one last little thing here I got to get into. So I hear you have a dog.
Oh, she's my life.
This is what I've heard. I've heard that, So I've heard that the dog gets dressed up. I've heard, and this is not a little dog, people. This is not a Chihuahua. This is not a little Yorkie. I heard that the dog has clothes. I heard that the dog gets dressed up. I heard the dog has outfits for different occasions. I heard the dog has chains, has necklaces, hats. I heard the dog has the entire night. What is the story? How in love with you are this dog? Where did you get the dog? What's the dog's name? Tell everybody about your dog.
Well, so my plan has always been, get a good job, full time. I could have gone the ESPN Plus route and done all the D1 schools and different sports and stuff, but that's like by contract work. You're a freelancer, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just, like we spoke about at the beginning of the conversation, being a part of the team and being on the road and with the fellas, it's a big thing that I'm looking for. So step 1 was getting a good job. Step 2 was getting a dog, and step 3 was the motorcycle. So end of 22-23 season, we were finishing up the road portion of the schedule. I had a good feeling like I was going to be here in Muskegon for a decent amount of time, and I'm a big believer that you got to get a dog and make sure that they're comfortable with you. Obviously, junior hockey, working in it is a really big time commitment. So I knew that I wanted to get a dog in the off season, at the start of the off season, to give her a chance to acclimate to me and acclimate to a lifestyle that she goes to boarding and she goes somewhere else for the weekend when we go on the road. But yeah, so at the end of the season, once we finished traveling last season, 22-23, I went down. There's a rescue in Holland, Michigan, called Harbor Humane Society. And I went on their website and I saw pictures of Millie. Her name was Bubbles at the time, and I fell in love. Went and visited her and
her name Bubbles.
Yeah, there was no way Bubbles was staying the name. But yeah, I get her. She's got a coat. She's got boots. She's got different jerseys. We're big baseball fans. We did a Tigers game last year.
Okay, listen, I like your brother chirps me for saying we when I talk about the Dallas Stars because I'm a diehard fan. I like how you're saying we're like you got like we took in a Tigers game together.
Yeah. Well, Millie's more of a fan of the hot dogs at the games. And I like the baseball game and the beer, but it works. But yeah, she gets jerseys everywhere we go, and
Is she what kind of dog? Is she a mutt? She's a pit mix? Is she a pit mix?
Yeah, I think she's like a Staffordshire Terrier mostly.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, she's awesome. She's like my only family on this side of Michigan.
Yeah, I've also heard that you will take Millie on walks with the sole purpose of hopefully a beautiful girl walks by you and stops to pet her, and then you fall madly in love, and then you live a perfect rom-com as the Muskegon Lumberjacks broadcaster who falls for the girl walking his dog.
I wouldn't say that my sole goal taking Millie on walks is to find a wife. I will tell you, I will drive to Western Avenue, which is the main street that the arena's on, and I'll take her on walks there, just because you never know who you're going to. But no, it's definitely not the number one goal when I'm taking her for a walk.
Okay, that's just not what I heard. That's just I heard the main purpose when that leash goes on is, okay, Millie, let's go find a wife.
No, yeah, I mean, there's always the goal is there. You got to find a wife, got to find someone to watch her while we're on the road. But I wouldn't say it's the number one goal. I'm pretty happy right now, and all my money goes to buying her jewelry. So if I find a wife that I got to buy her jewelry, Millie's gonna see a little less. So maybe she's happy with just the single dad right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ezra, can't thank you enough for giving me an hour of your time. I know you're a busy guy in the off season. I know things are starting to get going probably around there. Starting to get things geared up for training camp and things like that. So really appreciate you giving me your time. And obviously your brother gave me all that info about the dog. So, yeah, it was just, you know who that came from. So I'll let you fight that out with him at Thanksgiving this year. But we can't thank you enough for coming on, man. You golfer? I know your brother does a little bit. Are you swing the sticks ever?
Yeah, been pretty big on it since I got that shoulder surgery. It was just a good way for me to get my rotation back, and Michigan has some unbelievable golf courses, so it's always nice. We get Fridays off, and even if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, you just pop into Andrea's office, our president, and say, "Hey, I'm gonna take off a couple minutes here. They got a tee time over at the country club." So it's
wonderful, yeah. Unreal. Well, buddy,
not a
yeah.
Stick, but I have a good time. That's all that matters.
There you go. If you can not be me and not cuss yourself out, it's a decent day. It's a decent day. So Ezra, again, thank you very much, man, for coming on. Can't thank you enough. So we will talk to you soon, and good luck on the season. Good luck to the boys of Muskegon. Good luck to the broadcast team and the front office and everybody you work with. Go get them, man. So we'll see. We'll be watching. We'll see how you guys do.
Yes, sir. Love the pod. Thanks for having me.
Okay, awesome, buddy. We'll see you later.
Sir.
And we can't thank Ezra Gennello enough for coming on. And now joining us officially is the one and only Spencer Brown. What's going on, buddy?
Something's got to pay the bills here. So I had to, miss a very valuable interview to do one of those work things.
So, somebody's got to work this summer? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't do
the bills.
Like I don't do anything.
Yeah.
My last 3 days consisted of going to the movies, playing golf, which we will talk about, and then yesterday I went to the zoo, and then today I went to Costco. So this is my life in the summer.
Real tough life, shaping youth during the year and running to Costco in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Bought baby clothes today. That's new. That's a new one. That's a new thing.
Can you just put them in a trash bag and just let them go?
I don't think so. I do think of the scene in Big Daddy when he's sitting there and he comes out and he goes, "That's what you want to wear out on the street?" And he goes, "Yep." He goes, "Okay, good luck." That's all I gotta say. It's just like, what are you gonna do?
You got the kennel, you got the kibble. You're all good now.
Yeah, that's a dog. That is not a. That's like my sister. It's like my sister asking
okay.
if. That's like my sister asking if she can throw him in the pool to see if he floats. I'm like, that's not happening.
I think that's literally what you're supposed to do.
That's what she said, but I told her I think you pay for a professional to actually teach your baby what to do, not his crazy aunt just tossing him into water.
Literally, the first time they do it, you like grab them by a leg like a doll, and you just throw them in the pool, and you see what happens. I'm actually not kidding. I think
I don't.
I want to say
AJ, I know AJ's kid did it. AJ's kid did it.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh god, because apparently they're like cats in the water. They kind of naturally like find their way to this like the like. I don't know. I don't
so then
know.
what happens to me because I just sink?
You're a bum.
When do we lose that?
You're a bum. That's what. That's the minute you become a bum. That's when you lose. That's when you lose that.
I want an update on the $45 scam.
It's shipped. It's coming from China, so it's just fake stuff.
Okay, so we're just TBD. Okay.
Yeah, TBD. My account has not been shit. Like, no more money has been pulled out. I got a tracking number. I got an email confirmation, but it came from China, so it's clearly not. It's not real stuff. It's either going to be like 3 times too big. Here's my thing. Here's my only thing. If it fits and it looks fine, who cares? $36 well spent. No big deal, right? But like if it comes 3 sizes too big when I ordered a medium, or it comes like a medium is like a youth small, then I'm gonna be like, all right, I'll just throw it in the garage sale I'm having at the end of summer. But that's the update. It's on the way.
It's gonna fit on a Ken doll, and you're gonna be like, what the hell is this thing?
It's literally like like American like girl doll clothes. They're gonna be tiny. So we'll see. TBD on what they actually look like. But they came from China. So
okay.
I'm sure I'll get COVID after I open up the package. So too soon? I mean,
it's not. It's never too soon anymore. Okay, so back to Cowboys Golf Club.
Back to Cowboys Golf. So for people who don't know, which is probably a lot of people, the NFL's only owned, or the only NFL team owned golf club in the country is Cowboys Golf Club here in DFW. It's in Grapevine, Texas. It's actually on the same property, runs parallel. A lot of the fairways run parallel to Grapevine Golf Course, which is a highly, highly rated municipal here. Very hard to get on. You can make tee time 6 days out, but you have to literally call on the 6th day out at 6 a.m. when they open, and you're still only going to get like a 1:30 p.m. tee time, because members can make tee times 14 days out in advance, and it just fucks everything up. They have 3 nines. It's really nice because the 3 nines, so the route changes based on the day. So you could go from this 9 to this 9 one day. The next day you play it could be this 9 to this 9. They could have you play the same 9 twice. It just all depends. It's a really cool course, but it's so hard to get on. Anyways, Cowboys runs parallel to it. Cowboys is one of those courses you drive by it in the dead of winter and it's bright green, and you are like, what the hell? Their fairways don't go dormant. It's pure white sand. It's immaculate. The kicker is it's $250 for a round. Here is what it includes. Before, let's factor all this in. $250 for it's a day. It's not a just pull up 20 minutes before your tee time, go play golf, and then you leave right after. It is an all day thing. So it's an all inclusive experience. So you pull up, drop your bag off. They go put it down in your cart, which cart has your name on it. It's like you're playing a tournament. It's labeled your name. Each cart has its own kind of like. We are in the Roger Staubach cart, right? Like each cart is like labeled a different Cowboys player from like a different generation. Like it's kind of cool. Like it gives you the little things like that, right? But you pull up. The only thing you're responsible for is tipping if you want to. I feel obligated to tip when at an all-inclusive thing because it's already paid for, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the only thing not included is alcohol, which I completely understand. Like you're not gonna have. You don't want
it never is.
And you don't want some idiot.
That's like an all-inclusive Mexican resort. Like it almost never is. Like
exactly.
What I mean? Like that's how they get some money.
Yeah, 100%. But so you pull up that good stuff, which that's typical for some nice courses most of the time. But anyways, It comes with 2 meals, right? So my tee time was 9:10. So we timed it to where we got there at around 7:45. We had breakfast. I had eggs, I had bacon, had hash browns. So this is the other thing. I've never paid. I've been lucky enough to golf this course 4 times. I've never paid for it. I've gotten either gift cards, presents, whatever. I've just been lucky, right? I've just, happened to not have to pay for it 4 times. It is a course where you want somebody there with you, though, right? Like you don't want to just experience it by yourself.
Mm.
The problem is the price. You can't just text your buddy and say you want to pay $250 and go play when you didn't pay it's like I can't expect somebody to pay the $250 when I didn't even pay the $250. My dad did it once with me just to say that he did it. Now, my dad's very frugal. He did say it was well worth the money, but he said it's not something he's going to do every year. Like, it's not something he's going to do every year all the time. Like, maybe one, you know what I mean? Every once in a blue moon. Anyways, so I wanted my future wife to go with me to experience the course. So I called and said, "Do you guys allow riders?" For $50, I added her on, and it came with 2 meals. So she got the all-inclusive experience with. Yes. So she got the all-inclusive experience with me minus the golf for $50 extra bucks. So we got there around 7:45. I had a standard typical. They have a lot of different stuff, but I just went with your standard typical breakfast. She had like this blueberry almond butter pancake. It was giant. It was the size of my head, with a side of bacon that came with like 8 pieces. It's all included. Again, I'll just keep saying that. It's all included. So we ate, got done eating. Went and grabbed my cart. My clubs were already on there for me. Drove over to the range. Tailor-made practice range balls, unlimited range balls. They're already out there in the wood bins for you. When you're on the range, there's like the little baskets just filled with tee. Like, what do you need? Ball markers, tees, like all that good stuff. Just grab. I could have grabbed 1,000 tees. I just didn't want somebody to stare at me weird. So I could have grabbed 1,000 tees. I grabbed like 15.
These are all for me. These are just
It's like I grabbed. I have noticed I actually prefer wood tees over plastic tees, but they just break way too easily. So I use like a tee hole.
Yeah, I've gone to plastic.
So I grabbed a few, hit some balls. And then get done the club cleaner on the range, wipe your clubs off there, all that good stuff. So you get done with, go down to the tee box. As you're driving to the first tee, it's like driving through this little wooded area. As you're driving to the first tee, up on the screen in your cart, my fiance was like, "This is insane." Up on the screen, all of a sudden pops up this Cowboys pump up video. It's like, "You ready to be a Dallas Cowboy? 1, 2, 3." And it's like wide receiver, one-handed catches, like Zeke running up the middle, Prescott, like it's all these like different highlights, and it's like it's like ready to take on the day. Just get you going, just get you going. And then you pull up to the first hole. They start you off on a really nice open par 5. The course is immaculate. Here's where it gets hard. I 3-putted. The greens are so hard. They're fast. The groundskeeper must have gotten a divorce on Saturday, because a lot of these holes, a lot of these pin placements were like in the middle of ridges, on top of shelves, things like that. And the greens are tough. If the pin locations were in the easiest part of the greens would still be hard. So it's just one of those, like, you've really got to hit it in regulation, and you've got to 2-putt. Otherwise, like, the other kicker is it was like Wigwam. If you're not in the fairway, if you're in the rough, good luck. It's like you're hacking and slashing out of there. I finished 89, but it was a really tough 89. Like I was battling for everything. I think I had 4 doubles, 1 triple. Like, it was, luckily I had like 5 or 6 pars, and I was hitting fairways. That's the good thing about the course. Very open. It does give you the opportunity to hit fairways, but if you're not accurate after that, you're fucked. So, but then you finish. So we finish, and then you come back in. You go put your clubs in your car. You grab a change of clothes. You grab a shirt, whatever. You come back. Am I freezing?
No, I don't know. I think it's telling me I have low storage, but I don't save it on my phone. So as long as you can download it later,
no, you're good. No, we're good. Okay, so you go put your stuff up. You grab a change of clothes. You come back. You go get cleaned up a little bit. They have showers there if you want to take a shower. So you go get cleaned up a little bit, then you go back to the restaurant and you eat either lunch or dinner. So you time it based on your tea time. You have an afternoon tea time or mid-afternoon tea time. You time it where you go and have brunch or lunch, then you come have dinner. So ours was breakfast and then obviously lunch. Here's the kicker. Each person gets an appetizer and an entree. So it's 2 appetizers and 2 entrees for 2 people. Like, it's not just like share one appetizer. Like, each person gets their own appetizer. So I got 12 wings as my appetizer. It's like a full meal. And then I got my meal on top of that.
Honestly, for $250, that's really not that bad because that's at least like $80 worth of food.
I drank $250 worth of Gatorade Zero, Spencer. I fucking was pounding Gatorade Zeros. Every time the cart girl came around, I was like, can I get 2 Gatorades?
That's like maybe $100 to $150 round of golf. Like, that's not that bad for a super nice place.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Anything but alcohol is included. So you come around the turn, that's the other thing too. You come around the turn, massive grill. They got kielbasa, they got smoked cheddar sausages, they got brisket sandwiches this is at the turn. This is at the turn. The only thing I bought, I couldn't help myself. I did buy a frozen Jack and Coke at the turn. It was 100 degrees outside. Had to have a frozen. I saw the frozen Jack and Coke machine, and I said, "I will." That sounds like a plan right there. So that was fantastic. $9 though, so it's not even like it wasn't even like it was a pretty big cup. It was $9 for a frozen. Yeah. No, it's great. So then I had wings. I had a fried chicken sandwich with truffle fries. It's a day, but it's a whole day. We got there at 7:45. We left at 4:30.
Yeah, it's not like you be like, all right, I'm going to do a quick round of Cowboys and go home. It's like,
no,
okay,
unless you're a member.
Take the kids, take the dogs. I'm going here for the entire time, and it's just
it's a day, but it is an option if the boys ever come to Dallas and we want to do something like that. It is a good option if we want to just go have a day, right?
Yeah.
So we'll keep that up. But shout out to Cowboys. Other than when my ball was in the rough and I pulled 8 back muscles trying to hack a wedge out of there. So it's great. The Pro Shop is unreal. I like how I send a picture of my head cover and all you jackasses think I just bought a Cowboys Amazon head cover.
I was doing
stuff. AJ was chirping me like I bought like one of those Cowboys MaxFly head covers from Amazon. I'm like, fuck you, AJ. It's actually from the Pro Shop at the golf club. I didn't just buy
I put it together. I saw on the Instagrams and other things. I was like, oh, he's at Cowboys Golf Club.
I could have spent a lot of money in that Pro Shop though. That was like the meme.
Sure.
I suddenly become a millionaire when I walk into a Pro Shop. I was like looking at polos, looking at all kinds of stuff, but. I've seen you've played a couple rounds. What's going on? Where's the game at?
I have no short
Real quick, I've never gotten off the tee and been in the fairway so many times only to not, I couldn't hit an iron. I'd never played golf before and I got hit anything under 130 yards and in with a wedge in my hand. Perfect. Drive, 65% of my fairways. Any other club, I was like, okay, this is just dumb. So what's going on with your game?
I don't know. For 30 to 10 yards, I just can't play.
Yeah.
I can get off the tee well. I'm striking the ball really well.
You hit the ball
putting really well. I'm just my short game is
putting
atrocious.
Putting saves me.
I two-putt almost everything, but my short game is just putting me in awful spots where I'm now chipping twice. Okay, there's 2 shots there. Then even if you two-putt, you can't par with a 2-chip and a 2-putt. That's 4 shots right there.
See, I'm the opposite. I wish I could hit the ball far enough to only ever have a 9-iron down or even 8-iron. You know what I mean? But it's just man, if I've got a 7, 6, 4, 5 in my hand, I just got no clue. It's either it's one of 4 things. It's either going to be a stripe, either to the left or right, where I don't want to be, not straight, or it's going to be a top chunk. I just can't do it. I just can't figure. Yeah. I can't put all 4 parts of the game together.
I'm not even hitting hybrids anymore. I don't take my hybrids out of my bag anymore.
Can't do it.
Yeah, I don't even need them. the gaps that I'm hitting to, like, okay, if I'm at 250 on a par 5, I'm now sitting there and be like, okay, what distance do I actually want to shoot to? I'm not hitting the green with a 250-yard club, but if I hit myself to, say, 75 yards, now I'm in a very comfortable chipping distance where I know I can hit a green from 75 yards 80% of the time.
I will tell you right now, if you go and look at my stats and my handicap, any par 5s that I have parred, I promise you, it is because on my second shot, I have laid up with a 6 or 7 iron to a distance of about 150, 145, 130. Any of my par 5s where it's a bogey or worse or double or triple, I probably tried to rip a 4 iron way too fucking far, chunked it, topped it because I'm just trying to muscle it to a distance that I know I'm not going to get to. It's just, you know what I mean? But anytime I just tell myself, hit to the distance that you know. So if I hit to 120, I'm like, I have confidence because I'm good with my wedges. If I try to hit this 4 iron and I chunk it 30 yards, now I've got 175 in or 185, 195 in. Then I'm even less confident because now I feel like I can't lay up because now it's like a double layup and that's not going to save a stroke. So it's just, the game is it's such a psychotic game.
Golf is so fun.
But you got your new driver. We are both Callaway AI Smoke boys now. Have you hit it?
No, I took it to get regripped yesterday.
I need to get mine regripped. I need to get mine regripped.
I got beef with the regripping guys, but that's neither here nor there.
What's
just
good?
Know what you're talking about in a golf. No, just know what you're talking about in a golf course.
They don't know what's going on.
Like when I walk in and I ask you for a mid-size grip, and you go, "Well, we don't have mid-size. We only have jumbo and standard." I'm like, "No, you have mid-size. It's literally on my club." Like, no, they don't make those. I'm like, I'm gonna go find one and I'm gonna show it to you, and you're gonna feel dumb.
They honestly tried to tell you that mid-size is not a thing?
Not a thing. And so I went and literally found one on the shelf. I was like, "There's one right here. I just don't want the align strip on the back." And we took it to the pro. He goes, "Yeah, we have mid-size." And I'm just like looking at the guy like, "Why are you making me feel dumb when I know exactly what I'm talking about?"
The other thing is, if he was any bit of smart, if I could understand if he said, "We don't have mid-size, but I can build your standard up to feel like a mid-size, like a couple extra wraps underneath." Then I could have maybe understood, like maybe he just doesn't know what inventory they have. But to say that mid-size doesn't exist,
He's like, "We don't have
idiotic."
Golf Pride doesn't make that. They only make standard and jumbo. So you're probably talking about the jumbo. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like
this fucking guy.
Like, what is going on?
This fucking guy. Who's this guy?
Different language? Just give me my mid-size. So finally, the guy found it. He put it on. I didn't need the align strip, so I don't know. I probably won't go hit it today, but I have league play tomorrow, so I'll hit it tomorrow.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Are you really now? Mine's as far to the draw setting as I can get it, just because I cut the ball so hard that I need the weight in that particular area. Are you going to keep it neutral?
Do I put the weight the opposite of what I do?
That's what I would think. Oh no, I think you put the weight on what you hope to do and hope that it helps you when you do the opposite.
Like if I hit a draw, do I set it to fade because I want it to fade more now and that would straighten it out? Or if I hit a draw, do I set it to draw because I hit a draw?
So I hit a big fade and I want the ball to draw more, so I have it as far to the draw setting as I possibly can. And what I've noticed is when I fade the ball now, it's not as hard. Like it still lands in play. It's not as hard of a cut. But I have honestly drawn the ball 3 times. Like there have been holes where it goes right to left, and in my head I'm like, well, this doesn't play to my shot shape, and I try the motion of a draw, and the ball actually draws a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I have to think that setting is helping that. So it's I either draw the ball like, and not necessarily like a draw, it's more of like a hook, but for me that is a draw because I never go right to left. So that is like every once in a while, but for the most part, I feel like it just doesn't allow me to cut the ball too hard. Like I feel like it just cuts that down just a little bit.
I'll mess with the settings a little bit
Mess with it,
tomorrow,
yeah.
or when I play with it tomorrow, I probably won't do anything. And then
The only reason I didn't mess with it is because it's at the setting that it's at when I got fitted for it. So I don't need to mess. I already got fitted for it, so I don't need to. I don't need to mess with it. I already hit it when the guy. Yeah, so it's actually.
What is this custom? Mine's off the shelf.
Yeah, no, mine's off the shelf. But I went to PGA, so Jimmy kind of hooked it up a little bit.
Custom.
Mine's an 11 and mine's set to 11 and a half though. So
I got extra stiff shaft because I strong.
I feel like I probably could switch, but I don't. I don't know.
I was talking to Peel about it. It's all about your swing speed. You have to get over a 105 swing speed. So I don't know if you're quite there, but I was swinging in the backyard last night.
No, probably not.
And the amount of no lag I had of the driver head, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, no, you're probably going to pound the ball. That is the Fairway Four Chicks podcast. That is Tardy Spencer. Mason could be dead again. But yeah, so Spencer, go ahead and hit him with it.